I don't know, like, she's out there. You're the Florida version of Sex in the City, JD.
That's when I was smoking my cigars.
Don't be an asshole today.
All these things are
You did good. How are you?
I'm good. How are you two?
I'm good. Jay, a little haggard.
Oh, me too. Me too. I rushed in traffic. I'm yet with another background. I'm at my sister's house because I wanted to make it in time. I got stuck late at work and I didn't want to miss this show.
Oh,
I don't blame you, man. I make it happen when Dr. Spann is on. Welcome back to you, Dr. Spann of the Lesbian Couples Institute in Colorado. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
It's good to see you. Look at you with your red on. That's so nice.
No.
It's not even Valentine's.
No, but I got these new red glasses, and so I have to
Gotta
figure out
coordinate.
close to where that coordinates.
Oh,
So.
you're very coordinated. Yes.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Looking lovely. We in our email we were talking about like topics or whatever. Oh, I just realized my washer is gonna beep in like 2 minutes. Okay. Anyways, sorry about that. We were talking about what topics, and at first I was like super interested in well, what do most people want to work on? Like, especially most people our age, what do they want to work on? And then I was like, but wait a minute, I also want to know about outside factors that play into our relationships, like family and friends and exes, especially because we're kicking off Pride Month.
Yeah.
June is Pride Month, and that means every festival you go to, you're going to see a handful of exes, and you're going to either look the other way or have to be cordial. So yeah, there was just a lot of things I wondered about, and then I thought, well, is that something that people want to work on? Does it all tie in together? So I'm going to leave that to you.
Yeah, I love your thinking around that. And, I think for people our age, and I'm, I always speak to lesbian couples because that's the work that I do. But I think that sometimes our life gets complicated at this stage by what one of my mentors, Stan Tatkin, calls thirds. So if my partner and I are the two, thirds are anything outside of our little coupledom, right? So
yes,
jobs, parents, grandkids, exes, other friendships, all and so we have to learn to manage those things, which become sort of heavy at this stage of life. We have to manage that so that it doesn't infringe on the specialty of our relationship and really continuing to put our relationship first.
Okay, got it.
That is true.
My wife to turn off the washer. Okay, there we go.
I come from a close Italian family, and I think this is a great topic, by the way, Denise. I like that you touched upon this because families, because I've been saying this because there's been holiday after holiday, and then there's birthdays, and then there's Mother's Day and Father's Day, and it never ends. And when you have a close family, and I say Italian because I think the Italians are usually, a tribal group, right?
Yep.
I had an ex, a family ex, not my ex, say that. I don't want to say who it was, but she was an in-law of someone, and they were very waspy. And she's like, "You are a very tribal people, aren't you?" Because
I think that's a great compliment, don't you?
Yeah, that's a great way of.
I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of like in my big fat Greek wedding when she's telling the guy we're in each other's business and we eat too much and we fight too much and we're always with each other. And
it's true though, but I mean, It could
And-
be Jewish families, it could be Greek families,
right. And
Italian
it's,
families,
yeah.
but yeah.
my case, it's Italian, and we are very, very, sometimes I think it's too much. And then, so is it too much when the other person, I'm just saying this, like the other person doesn't come from that, or worse, when the other person does, because now it's two families that are pulling at you and want you to be with them. And I've had, some family members, and I can't say who, have marriages that didn't work out and relationships not work out because it was too much at the end after years of it.
It's hard to
And
balance
sometimes I wonder if that
them
happens.
pulling at you,
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. And so then when you look at TV shows sometimes and you see it's just them when they don't have family written into
Yeah.
characters, right? And it's like they don't have to worry about that. So
Right.
I think that sometimes you do have to put yourselves first. Like you said, you have to put that relationship first. I think that's a good point that you make, Dr.
Dr.
Spann.
Spann, do you feel like you have to communicate to the thirds, or do you have to communicate with your partner about something like that?
I think both, but there's an order to that, right? So first you have to work it out with your partner and get clear on what boundaries you want to have as a couple with each other and with thirds. And then sometimes it does take, communicating to the larger family that, when I was single, I could go to every single event, and birthday party and celebration. And
Yeah.
I'm a package deal now. That means I have to consider my partner's desires and plus suddenly our calendars got double things because I'm a part of that family too. And so we're going to do our best to be great family members and show up when we can. And I may not be at every single thing, or I may stay a little bit less time.
Right.
You said something interesting, JD, which is, if you're partnered with somebody that doesn't have this family culture of togetherness and tribalism and
Tribalism.
that big family, it can be challenging because individuals that come from more of an island family culture of where, we stay to ourselves and we're more independent from the larger family. It can be, how do I want to say it? It can be like overwhelming, even sort of physiologically and neurologically and emotionally, to suddenly be around so many people so frequently. So there can be tension that rises up around that.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird though? Like, Jay, you would probably get this more so than anybody, but when you were married to a man,
yes,
there was no question. When you said, oh, this Thanksgiving, we got to go to his family or whatever, your folks are like,
Right.
oh, okay, no worries or whatever.
right.
It's a little like, I don't know, do we not get the same respect as couples? Or like, I don't know. But the thing, I was fortunate because when I was married to a man, our families just gelled into one big glob. So, so Christmases, everybody was there. Thanksgiving, everybody was there. You didn't have to pick and choose what family, because thankfully we were all kind of in the same area and neighborhood, and it was easier. And then I lucked out again because, living here, my wife's family's in Australia and my family's in the States. So when it's just us two.
Right.
But I understand, like, a majority of people have two families pulling at them, for things, especially if they have a good relationship with their family. But the pressure to not disappoint anyone, is that one of the things that people come to you about? Like, how do I do this without upsetting? It's
sometimes it is
our age, because you've got that bond with your family so formed.
Yes.
And you're everybody has kind of like an innate quality to be a little bit of a people pleaser, I guess. It just sucks. Like I remember, like, when I was with different girlfriends or whatever, and having to do things at their family, like, I wanted to be with my family. I'm not gonna lie. but yeah, it's difficult because you want to please them, you want to please your family, you want to please their family. That's a load. That's a load.
Yeah, and I think it's figure outable as long as there's open communication about it. And what that means is you speak up. You speak up about what you want and what you desire, and you both take turns doing that. And then that positions you to figure out the best solution. A lot of times, because that people pleasing, I was going to say gene, it's I'll call it a download that most of us got
Yeah.
from our mothers and their mothers before them. We often avoid speaking up, and so then we end up just going along with what, whoever wins, and then over time we get resentful. So it's super important to speak up, and that may cause some tension, and for a little bit, but it at least puts you in a position to negotiate a good solution for both of you.
Yeah, I always say it's like, all right, now it's on the table. Now
Yeah,
it's on the table. It's something that we do have to, figure out. It's there. We can't avoid it. But a lot of times I have some friends that have been married, I guess the same as me and Jem, like 12, 13 years. And they still, after all this time, have a issue with like how much their families interfere with their, and they have a kid too. So the family, obviously wants to have input on how they're raising their kid. And, like when I hear about it, I'm just like, oh my God, like that's gotta be, really, really rough, because, everybody's doing it out of a place of love. They're not doing it to be intrusive or, whatever it is. If it's not a kid, maybe it's like mortgage advice or buying a house or what kind of car are you driving, whatever. But parents and family and outside factors, piling on the advice or whatever, and then you have to sift through it. And
or lovingly say, I so appreciate that you care so much about us and our success, and thankfully you raised me well, so I really know how to make decisions around this. So we have 3 grandkids, Lisa and I, and one of their mommies who lives near us will sort of lovingly say, I got this. Yeah.
I love it.
And that's cool. That's like, oh yeah, that's a little checkpoint for that. That's right. These are adults. They know what they're doing.
Right.
I like that you said earlier that you need to remember to take care of your own relationship, though. And I think sometimes maybe that means saying no to both families and do something, the two of you. And maybe not necessarily a holiday, but I think that sometimes, and maybe it is also acknowledging for your partner that maybe your family might be overwhelming. So you're like, I'm going to put a limit on it. So we're going to be in and out by this time. And I promise you, we're not going to have to spend whatever, because sometimes you could get there and they keep you trapped. It's trapped. And it's not just her family, it's my family too. But I'll be like, look, we're taking our own car, or we're not going back to the house after we go out to dinner or something, so you're not trapped there. But I find that I'm more willing to admit that than she is. I'm more willing to admit my family's overwhelming. I don't want to stay there 6 hours tonight, and I'm not gonna have us trapped where, when it's her, she'll say, well, what's the matter? I never see them, or, like it's not the same. Like I'm on an island with that, on an island, and I don't want to have to be the person to say that, but I say it when it's my family. I don't want to be trapped with my family either.
Right.
It's just, I just feel sometimes there's no way out with that.
I get it. Before we leave the house, no matter what we're doing, whether it's family, friends, going out to, meeting up with people or whatever, I always go over the exfil plan,
Exit strategy.
Exit strategy.
Yes.
Exfil plan, because I'm not, and I think a lot of it had to do with the pandemic. Like I'm just not used to being out of the house for long periods of time. So I'm easing, into it, and, going to Florida was a big thing for me, like to get through, get back to what I know, because that was just like, woof. So yeah, like the exfil plan for these, as we open back up and start going out and start seeing people again, I got about this much in me for that.
Yeah, and we're out of practice.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes it's okay to say, let's take two vehicles, or we'll go together, and I have the option to take a lift home, because I want you to have as much time as you need with your
Right.
family,
Yes.
and I don't want to feel trapped.
Right.
So you can get creative in how you handle that.
That's a
Another
really
thing
good
I think is
point.
really important when it comes to spending time with each other's family is a concept I think of as staying tethered. So here we are, and you know, if it's a big family, there's 30 people in the house, and I'm going to keep my eye on where you, my dear, are, and I'm going to swing back around to you, and I'm going to give you a little
Right.
squeeze, and if you need something, we have an agreement that you can say, hey, meet me on the back porch or the bathroom,
Yeah,
or let's
yeah.
take a walk around the block, so that we can remember our primary focus is each other and protecting each other. So whether that is we need to leave early, or we're just going to find a time and space to connect, that can be super helpful too.
That's really good. Yeah.
That is a great point. That's a great point. And you know, like with my family, if I say I have things to do, I need to go home, it's not enough to say that. I need to tell them what the things are. Oh, what do you have to do? And then when I tell them, well, couldn't you do that before? Oh, I have laundry, I have to do emails. Oh, you couldn't take care of that. You know, that's the way they are with me.
Yeah,
You know? But if I say she's got something to do, it's fine with them. Okay, well, we don't want to take her time. You could, you know. So, I mean, I think I need to use the opposite strategy with my family, but I do like that point that you need to check back with your partner to see how they're doing in the sea of everyone else that might be there if there's a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
It'd be overwhelming.
Yeah. I you know, like I said before, when Gemma and I were in that stage where we were both in our respective countries and we spent a lot of time on the phone, you know, and video chat, you know, like back then, like AOL buddy chat or whatever it was, you know,
Right.
you know, like she got firsthand, like to see how my family would just walk in, you know, and hang out and whatever. And, you know, like, I think over a period of time, like there was you know, she was able to adjust to how it was going to be. You know, because her family's very different. They're very reserved. They're very respectful. They're very, you know, reserved, I guess it's the best way to put it. Whereas my family is unleashed. And now, like, you know, she, you know, got a feel for that before actually physically being in their presence in their space. So I think that was a good training period, if you will.
Exposure therapy.
Yeah, it really ended up, you know, being a good thing. And then, you know, then we when we were here and we don't have those things pushing and pulling at us, it's, you know, it's nice, you know, it's like every decision is yours and yours alone, you know, and that's what I mean, I kind of dig that. But I do think, you know, like she has a bigger friendship circle because she works in town. So she, like tonight, she went out to eat with coworkers or whatever, you know, and I don't, that kind of stuff doesn't bother me. I don't want to go anyways. So it ends up working out. And we've really found the balance in that. Like you know, I'm picky about the things that I do want to do because it's not as easy as just jumping in your car and going someplace over here. You know, it's planning the bus schedule, the train schedule, and looking to see what time the tubes are going. And, you know, it's nothing is easy. There's always a plan involved. So it's not as fun, you know, it's a lot of thinking involved in it as opposed to just grabbing your keys and heading out, you know. But yeah, I think that we've got like a really good balance about the things that we, you know, we want to do together, the things that we want to do separately. You know, a lot of the time she's not a big, because she's gluten-free, dairy-free, and a vegetarian. It's not easy for her to go out and eat. So, you know, I'll make plans with my friends to go eat meat, drink dairy, do it, do it all. And she's, you know, fine sitting home eating a salad. So it, you know, we swap a lot of that. And it's, I think that's, crazy cool, because that could be something that really needles away. Like I have moments of frustration, just like can't figure out what to cook for her, to like my joy of cooking is slowly being sucked away because it's really difficult to find gluten-free things and all that kind of stuff. So we have those testy moments where I'm like, you're just gonna have to sort yourself out because I don't know how to make that. you know but I don't consider that an outside factor, or the gluten-free thing a third. I'm not sure, but yeah, I just
Yeah,
think
but
social media plays a huge part in it too. Like I'm a constant scroller and I'm always looking at my Twitter feed and everything, and my wife is like zero social media presence whatsoever.
yeah, so that can be a third, your
It
screen
is.
time, and
Have to
managing that, and
give it away.
being willing to say, okay, I'm gonna put that aside for an hour so we can just, hang out and talk to each other.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then for her to understand, sometimes that's just how you like decompress and,
Well, yeah, a lot of it, like I honestly, and I'm not even joking, I consider it work, because most of the time I'm promoting something, promoting the
Yeah.
podcast, promoting the book, promoting the cartoon. I always have things going on in projects. So it's not just to bitch about politics. it is more or less to promote stuff. So, but I can fall down the rabbit hole, on of reels and TikTok and all that kind of stuff. But I try not to do that, unless she's doing it. If she's like playing a game,
Mhm.
then
oh yeah, green light then, right?
yeah, green light. So yeah, there's a lot of things I think that hammer away at relationships. You must be like booked constantly. Like there's so many things.
Yeah, I don't have job scarcity, that's for sure. I'm not worried about losing my income for sure.
Do you feel like you talk about the same things a lot because people are kind of, having a lot of the same issues between the
Yeah.
pandemic and the politics and the outside factors?
I think there's overlapping themes for so many people and couples, and then there's uniqueness per individual couple too. So that makes it interesting. But there are a lot of overlapping themes for sure.
Do you find that the screen time is a big third of attention in a relationship nowadays? Like people
Yeah.
complain their partners on their phone a lot.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. And I think it can lead to a chronic sense of disconnection. And it's an easy fix, which is to make an agreement that, I don't know, maybe even every day you're going to have a screen-free, say no to screen time policy in your relationship, so that, whether it's half an hour or a couple hours or whatever works, that, we're going to get that. Remember the basket that the kids would put their phones in for dinner time? So we're going to do that. We're going to shut it off and do something else. Whether it's walk in the park or play a game together or go have sex or eat dinner without interruption, whatever it is, so that we can get that quality of connection time.
Yeah, that's huge. That's really huge. We started doing puzzles like every once in a while on a Sunday afternoon, which was super fun. Like I completely forgot about how fun it is to do.
Yeah.
You can talk or not. You know what I mean? You can be, studying it for a half an hour and then say a word like, but yeah, that's a pretty fun thing that we've been doing together. And I just completely, I don't think I even ever did them as a kid. So it's been like really cool to get into. But yeah, it's just something to not be in front of the TV, like watching movies or watching recorded television or, playing anything on a screen and an iPad and that kind of thing. Like, just something you could do together and focus on without a screen anywhere.
And you're getting the added benefit of doing something novel, something that's different, and that lights up some of the dopamine in our brains when we do new things. and the success of finding that perfect piece that fits in that
Right.
spot
That
is
is
like,
euphoric.
yeah, absolutely. You get a little dopamine hit. You're there with your partner. It's all
Yeah.
good.
Oh, God forbid I find a Connect 4 game. We're in big trouble. But yeah, that kind of retro stuff is like super fun, super fun. But
Yeah.
Jay, I always wondered, like, because you're like this rock star, that is that a third in your relationship? Do you feel like,
Oh, definitely. That's a very good point. We were just talking about this. I was talking about this with my niece because she used to be married to a guitar player, my guitar player actually. And yes, it's definitely it's such a pull because it's your passion. And
Mhm.
so, you're going to do it at night, you're going to do it when you're tired, and then when you have your shows, it's what you're gearing up to do. And
yeah,
there's so many band wives that don't ever come to a show that there are guys I've worked with, I've never met their wife, and they've
Wow.
been married 25 years. And I'm like, and some of the guys I work with, they look good, they put themselves together nicely, and they go out there, and the girls are hitting on them. And I'm like, man, if that were my husband, I think I'd want to be there, and I would be supporting him, because you want your person to be there, out there in the audience. And I
Yeah.
don't think they get that. So my first relationship in me being in the music world was when I was married to my husband. And he saw that as a way to just hit on the women and flirt with the women that were out in the audience, because he would never be listening to me. And I would have, at that time I had girls coming to see me, right? Because I was playing gay bars. And they'd be like, why does he talk to me the whole time? I'm here to watch you. And he sits there and talks. So there was that, right? Then my second relationship, she met me playing on stage. So she had she started out as a fan. So she thought that there was this perfect person up there that she wanted to be with. And then she didn't realize what went along with getting up to all the work it took to
yeah,
being on stage, and hated the fact that I was always in the studio, or I was always rehearsing at night. So she hated that I wasn't home a lot at night, because she didn't see that part of it,
Yeah.
And now in my
Yeah.
current relationship, I think she accepts it, but I don't think she's so nuts about it, because she didn't meet me, excuse me, performing. And right after we got together, like a few months after the pandemic hit. So
oh,
for the whole time after that, like she never
Mhm.
experienced like
Mhm.
my playing. It was me playing in the bedroom on
yeah,
uh, on a Zoom show, and so she thought that was cool, because she was, I was reaching people all over the world, as I said the last show, when we were talking about that. But excuse me, once it became that I was playing out, I sometimes think it's a problem, even though she'll say it's not.
mhm,
You're taking the thing you love that you get so excited about, and they just can't get that excited about it. And for a time, I was with another musician, and I think that was the only time we got it, because we were both playing. We played together too, in a band. But the thing is that that also came with its own set of problems when you played together in a band. But the other thing I want to say about this, that probably wraps that up in a nutshell, is Janice Ian. I have to bring it back to Janice Ian, Denise.
Jesus, Jay.
Doctor, who Janice Ian is a rock star. She said, quote, when you are with a musician, you can only be, or when you marry a musician, you can only be their mistress, because the music is always going to be their first love. And I don't want to say that we choose the music over our partner in important, over in for the important part of life, but it is your love. It is your passion, and you can't leave it behind. So they almost have to share you with that. But I think maybe that has to do with anyone who's passionate about their work, whether it's, even if it's not music, even if
Yeah,
they're an artist or an author or a doctor. But the only thing that comes along with the musician part is you have people who are flirting with you. It just kind of goes with the job of being on stage. And then they need to just understand that it's not, that's not, if they would embrace what you're doing, you don't care about the other people, but you want your person to appreciate what you're doing.
Mhm.
I think a lot of partners of musicians don't get that. They just rebel and they repel it and they don't go, you know.
Yeah, and I think you can generalize that to other passions. You know,
Mhm.
whether it's our work, our hobbies, our, you know, whatever we're passionate about, if our partner can celebrate that and show interest and curiosity, bringing the element of compassion and curiosity to the table so that you can share about that, that can actually benefit the relationship, because whenever we bring positive energy into the relationship, it does us good. And so I think you're right, for partners to appreciate that, show up, and then take that energy of delight, and this is my passion, and I'm fiery about this. Bring that into the relationship.
Yeah.
So when you leave a gig and you're both together and you're like on cloud nine, then take that on for another hour or two and infuse that into your relationship.
Exactly.
That's true.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm pretty lucky. Like all the partners that I've had were really supportive of, you know, whatever, whether it was a podcast or a live gig or, you know, emceeing it at things, you know, I mean, Jay, you remember Rena, like she was like our champion. You know,
Yes.
my ex was just, you know, and still is. She's still like, you know, still a really good friend. But and Gemma's always been that way too. She from the sidelines, like she definitely doesn't like to have the spotlight on her, but from the sidelines, she's like, you know, push. So yeah, I mean that's
Call into the show, right? Or
yeah,
write, text
yeah.
in or call in.
Yeah, she was a big part of it. So yeah, and then she kind of like outgrew it, you know what I mean? But I mean, like she's still supportive, but like, yeah, she doesn't really, it's rare for her to make an appearance. So it's it's really a neat thing when you can share it, you know, share their thing too, whatever their thing,
Yes.
you know. So that's that's pretty good. I
You're
always
right.
think like, you know, like that's hard because I don't know if anybody's as passionate about anything as you are about music, but yeah, that's a good point though, like to bring that little bit of oomph that you get from a gig or whatever
Right.
door with you. Yeah. And as opposed to like deflating because it's over, you know.
Right. I think that's the perfect way to put it when you said you want your partner to celebrate what
Yeah.
you're doing.
Mhm.
Because other people are, so you want them to, that's the person you want to please, and that's the person
Absolutely.
who wants to be proud of you. So yeah, that's a really good point.
That's cool. I love when we get to take away like something like that. Like it's so helpful. Like just those little like it's just
How do you get them like to appreciate? I guess that's the question. If they're seeing it as a rival to your attention, how do you get them to, you know, see it as a, you know, appreciate this? Don't
oh my
see it as
God, Jay, we have 5 minutes and she's got to sum that question up in 5 minutes.
It's a two-way street. If when you get some appreciation from them, then give a little back, right? Like, wow, this is great. You're, and not to be base, but your appreciation is a total turn on for me. So what can I do for you now?
there you go. Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
And
That's
so
true.
it mushrooms. Appreciation begets connection. And so there's a win in that for your partner as well.
Wow. See, she got it in less than 5 minutes. That
She
is
totally
true.
nailed it.
Yes.
Totally nailed it. Man, you could have your own show. But I think the best thing we'll have, if it's okay, we'll have Dr. Spann back in June, after everybody's been to all the Pride festivals and have had all the big fights about running into exes. The worst part of Pride is that you gotta like see all the exes. And No, I always think it's like, it actually, it's kind of fun because you don't see them in your everyday life. So once a year, you get to be like, hey, that kind of thing. But yeah, some people just don't like that. And that's one of the things I think we'll save for the next show. Like,
Stay tethered and
tethered.
pride. So when you run
stay
into
tethered. That's gonna be the new goodbye. Okay, stay tethered. Oh, Dr. Spann, thank you so much for sharing your time with us. We really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. It was great fun as always. You all have a
I will get with you on a date that suits us all. And wow, what a cool topic that'll be.
cool. All right. Take
Take
care.
care. Bye, ladies.
It's like never stop chasing your dreams. There, see?
We drank way too much whiskey.